Hi everyone, just doing a quick video on how to do a stem and leaf plot, which is pretty well the last thing that you guys are going to need to know how to do for the test that's coming up, and also for the exam at the end of the year. So what we have here are two sets of data. So we've got our set 1 and our set 2. And we're going to put that data on what's called a back-to-back stem and leaf plot. Okay, so the stem here, we're going to put into groups of 10. So this is our 0 to 9 column here. So a row, 0 to 9 row, and then we've got our teens column, all right, and that's 10 to 19. We've got our 20s and our 30s, okay? So from here, we're just going to work with set 1 for now. So we've got a 2, we've got a 2 up here. It's a good idea, I think, if you're, and you should order your data before you do this, 100%. That's the first thing you should do, is do it in ascending order, so from lowest to highest. It's a really, really good idea to just cross out these numbers as you go. So we've done 2, we're going to do 7, that's a horrible 7. We're going to cross that out, we're going to do 9. I'm just going to get rid of that 7, that was awful. All right, so we've got 2, 7, 9. Now we don't have any more numbers that are in the 0 to 9 number range, so we're going to go on to our teens. So we've got 14, which we're going to represent as a 4. So 1 in our stem represents our I guess our tens column for our numbers, and then the 4, the leaves represent the ones column. All right, so 1 as our stem and 4 as our leaf represents the number 14, so we can cross that one off. And then we've got 17, we've got another 17, so we put another 7 in there. You don't just do it once, you represent all numbers in the data set. And then we've also got an 8 for 18. 20 is represented as 2, 0, all right? So 2 in the tens column, 0 in the ones column, that'll represent 20. And then we have 22, another, that's a 27 there, 29. And then we move to our 30s column, so we've got 31 and 34. Okay, so that is our data range there. That's our data set. Don't do what I did and do one column slightly bigger than the others, especially you'll have graph paper in the test, so just maybe do one sort of square per number, because what that does is actually sort of muck up what we're going to sort of be able to analyze from our data set, okay? So that's our set 1. We've done those numbers, so that's a tick. We move on to set 2 now, and all that is we're doing the same thing on the other side of our stem. Oops, that's a 6. So I'm just putting the data in here. I've sort of done them just one group at a time, I guess, but still cross them off. It's definitely good practice. 14, all right, that's done. 22, another 22, a 27, a 29, and then finally a 30. Okay, so what we can sort of analyze and how we can analyze our data, all right, ideally, well, not ideally, we can find our median simply by our normal sort of ways, and that is counting the total numbers in our data set. So for our set 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 numbers. All right, so we know that our middle number is going to be our 7th number there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our median value is going to be our 8, all right? And we can check that by checking that we've got the same number of numbers, and this is why it's important to do it in ascending order. Same number of numbers on either side of this number 8, all right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers on the higher side, and then we've also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers on the lower side. Okay, so our median would be 8. Okay, and then we just do the same for the other side. Hopefully I did the same number of data entries. I might have not have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, that's lucky. So we know that our median is going to be our 7th data point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so it is going to be this one here, our 11. All right. Again, we can check, and it's good to do this. Just check that we've got the same number of numbers on the higher side. All right, so the ascending side, and then the same number on the descending side, and we can see that we've got 6 numbers higher than it and 6 numbers lower than it. So that's all good there. Another thing you can do from an analysis point of view is actually look at whether the data is symmetrical or whether it is skewed to one side. So for our first data set, all right, this one here, we can see that our curve is actually going to be pretty, it's going to be pretty symmetrical. So if we just sort of draw a line, so we'll start here, it sort of goes up and then sort of comes down a bit like that. That's a pretty symmetrical sort of graph, okay? So we can say that that graph is symmetrical in shape. If we go over to our set 2, so this side here, our graph starts quite high and then sort of dips and then gets low. All right, so that data is not symmetrical. If anything, it's skewed to this side of the data, and we could say that in our analysis that one set of data is skewed, the other is symmetrical, and that's about all you're going to need to be asked to do from a stem and leaf plot. It might ask you a question on variability or consistency, and that's just looking at where our data points are located. So this data is pretty symmetrical for set A, but it's probably slightly more spread out. It's definitely evenly spread out, but it's probably slightly more spread out than our data from set 2, all right? In a test, it'll be a lot more obvious than this here. I've just sort of thought of these numbers off the top of my head, but in a test, it'll be really, really obvious which sort of set or which data set has the greater variability, because you might have some numbers sort of down here. There might be 64 or 52, and you might have some more spread out sort of data this way, all right? Any questions, please let me know before tomorrow's test, but otherwise, best of luck, guys.